This video will be about pagination, which is useful for moving through a large set of data one page at a time. And before we start talking about this, it's important to call it that this is a proposal. At the time of this recording, this is not yet implemented in lore, but it's part of the video because it will be. It's very high up in the roadmap, and it's an important consideration to include in this list of challenges. So let's take a look at an example, and to do that, let's dive into a component. So this component is requesting all the posts written by a certain author. It's also requesting a specific page of data, which we extract from the query parameters and the route's URL. Similar to filtering, we're still going to alphabetize and stringify the query, but to support pagination, lore will likely require stringifying the entire query and not just the where clause, which is what it currently does to support filtering. And the reason for keeping them separate here and not just adding the page property to the where clause is so that the application will still function properly even if a resource has an attribute called page, and that might happen, for example, if you were creating a book-related application. And just like filtering, we'll still be using that query key to check the data in the post.find state, and then invoking the appropriate action creator if the data wasn't found. As for navigating between pages in a paginated experience, the recommended pattern is to use the URL and let the router do all the work. So here the component is rendering links to view the other pages of data, and when the user clicks on one of those links, the query parameter in the route would change to reflect that page. So here you can see that the page is now equal to 2 in the URL, and doing this would in turn cause the application to re-render, and the component would get called again, but this time the value in props.location.query would be page 2 and not page 1. And so the component would then render the second page of data. So to review, pagination is important because it's generally a poor experience to show users a large amount of data unasked. Additionally, large data sets can also negatively impact the responsiveness of the application. The core challenge here is preventing action reducer explosion while also working alongside filtering. And while this feature is still in the proposal phase for lore, the approach it plans to follow is to stringify the entire query and not just the where clause, and use it as a key in the find reducer.